Good morning, it's Jim in beautiful Beaverton, Oregon. Well, it is late in September and we're going to film part 2 of the series on plumbing and putting together a aquaponics system. This part will deal with plumbing. We're going to tell how to set the tank and the grow bed and plumb them up. So I know that plumbing can be a little intimidating. I should tell a story. Many years ago, longer than I care to say, I spent several years as a maintenance supervisor in a chemical plant. And the first day I walked in the plant, it was like as big as a basketball stadium, kind of. Every inch of it is nothing but different pipes, as tight as you can get pipes, thousands of miles of pipe in all different kinds. They had 5 different kinds of water. And I looked at that and I said, it's impossible for anyone to know where all this stuff goes. But yeah, you know, after a year, you start working on a pipe here and you work on a pipe here. All of a sudden I looked up and I said, wow, I know where it all goes. And you guys can do that too. You know, it's easy. You just got to keep looking at it a little bit and add to it a little at a time. So we're going to start with a real simple setup. We're going to assume a few things. We're going to assume that you couldn't get fiberglass tanks, so you've decided to go with galvanized, a wonderful choice. So you're going to go down to the place where you buy galvanized tanks, usually what do you call that? Wilco or somewhere like that. Anyhow, this is a 300-gallon oval tank, and we're going to replace the fiberglass tank in there with a 40-gallon sheep stock tank. It's a foot deep, 4x2. It'll make a perfect little tank for our grow bed. So what we're going to do is we're going to dig a hole 18 inches deep right here, same size as this tank. And then we're going to take about 6 bags of sand and we're going to pour it over the bottom of that hole. The reason we're doing that is so we can level this out. Then we're going to take the sand and we're going to level it out completely, and we're going to set this tank and spend a lot of time with level, and there we go. Now we're going to come around to we're going to assume, we don't know what sort of building you have or what, it could be anything, but we're going to set the other one using pier blocks with attachments to fit 4x4s. We're using 4x6s in there, so there's 4 pier blocks with 2 4x6s, and that will sit right on top of it. The reason we do it that way is because we have to run a hole out the bottom, so it has to be open in the bottom. So however you chose to do it, you could use whatever, but you have to keep the bottom open. So now we have this set and we have this set, and what we're trying to do is set this, that will actually make it work just a little bit higher, so that when the pipes come out the bottom of that grow bed, it's still a little bit of a downhill run into your tank because they have to flow down with the spell cycle. So anyhow, we got that. Now we're going to go on to step 2. This is Unistrut. I've talked about it before, I'll talk about it again. It costs about 30 bucks for an 8-foot piece, but you can make a whole bunch of them out of it. 1 foot is probably a big plenty for your purposes. You see the way we're running it here. Anywhere we run pipe, we're going to run Unistrut. So you just cut it off in little pieces. You take a screw with a washer like so, and you screw it in, assuming you're going into wood or a wall if you have something like that. And then we take, I'm just going to show you the strap. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. That's a Unistrut strap. It looks just like these on there, and it fits in there and the pipe clamps into it. They fit in many different sizes and shapes. They're actually designed for electrical, but you can use them for anything. If you don't have a convenient wall, or your building or structure has nothing to screw that to, what you can do is dig a hole just like that, fill it with concrete, put a 4x4 in there. Now you got a post, and then another post and another post to go wherever you want. Then you simply mount your Unistrut on a post, and you have something nice and concrete to run all your lines and everything down. So anyhow, we're through that part. Let's keep moving here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get a bucket, like a landscape bucket, turn it upside down, put the pump, we're going to get a pump, excuse me, like I say, let's call it 2,000 gallons an hour is what's in there. Obviously it's been in there a while. We're going to set it on that bucket. And most pumps come with a fittings such as these, but what you're looking for is a 1-inch thread. So with that, you can take this, which is a Schedule 80 nipple, 1-inch nipple threaded. You can tell Schedule 80 from Schedule 40. The white is Schedule 40, the gray is Schedule 80. It will say it on it. But the Schedule 80 is thick enough walled that they can cut threads in it, and that's why we use it. So we're going to screw that into the top of our pump. We're going to screw this into there. Now we're into 1-inch Schedule 40 PVC. Now all we got to do, we'll take a little piece of this. We better stop and show you how to glue. Primer, glue. That's the standard cheap Home Depot version. There are a bunch of them. Some of them have primer in the glue. That's fine too. This is not rocket science on the gluing. You're going to cut a little piece of this off. Primer on there. Primer on there. Glue, glue, stick it together. Then, so now you're out of there into that. You come up with a 90, or excuse me, you come up with a nipple, and then you put a union on there. And the union allows you to take it apart. So, there's no right side or downside to a union to my knowledge. Put them either way. You're going to glue that on, you're going to glue another short piece into there, and then you're going to glue a valve in. Ball valve, open, shut. When the valve is this way, it's closed. When it's this way, it's open. That goes for any ball valve anywhere in the world. So now you've come out of it, you have a valve, you can shut it off and you can disconnect it if you want to. Now from there, again, primer, glue, you just come out with in this case, a piece about like that, glue it, and go that way. Now we're going to stop. The reason these other two valves and pipes are in place is because we're running 2,000 gallons an hour of water, and we really only want to use about 50 or 60 or a little more up there, so we can control how much goes up there by controlling what's down here. So this is simply to keep it circulating. You could have one or two, or you could run these somewhere else. But we won't get complicated there. This pipe here is the bottom of the bell siphon, and in various stages of going off, and that comes right out of the bottom of the grow bed. So we're coming around on unistrut. We're going to go right in there. And hook into the bottom of the grow bed. Now I have a video on hooking in a bell siphon, and I'm not going to show you any further than just what we're going to do to get into the bottom of the grow bed. What we're going to do is we're going to take this galvanized grow bed. We're going to cut, in this case, a 1 7/8 inch hole with a hole saw. That's what you use typically for a 1-inch through hole fitting. So we're going to drill a hole in the bottom of it. I don't have a 1-inch one. This is a 2-inch one. This is a Schedule 80 bulkhead fitting. And you'll notice, see, they go through. Once you cut the hole, the one there will be much smaller. They go through like so. And the part that keeps it from leaking on a Schedule 80, which is this, is very robust and about 3 times as big as the lesser type, which you want to avoid. So anyhow, now you've come through the tank and you've got a bulkhead fitting to it. And from there, then you're going to put a bell siphon in it and make a flood and drain out of it. And what we will discuss in the next one is maybe a little bit of that, and I'll tell you how to load it with the clay balls, media, whatever you're going to use in it, and various things. So in conclusion, for my tip of the day, these cost 50 cents, give or take. A trip to Home Depot costs, where I'm from, about $5 by the time you get there and back. So when you buy any of these fittings, buy way more than you need because you invariably will use them. And that's the tip of the day. We'll see you next week.